to Opally Hour, and today we are going to do Snoopy House issue number 7. Really quite excited about doing this, and it should be pretty straightforward compared to doing that Time Old Alley, which was quite challenging. So I am really looking forward to having a nice relaxing build with this. So anyone who doesn't know, I had 6, 7 and 8 issues delivered a little while ago, but it was missing the parts. It was missing the magazine for number 7, so I kind of waited. I've done number 6, that's up on channel, but I waited for number 7, so I ended up with getting the magazine and the parts again. So now I have 2 sets of parts with 2 batteries. So go careful with the batteries, they are loose in the box. They're not attached to anything, which is a bit unfortunate. The other thing we are going to need for this, it's just a temporary testing box, battery testing box, is you're going to need 4 AA batteries, just so you know. So let me put this to one side, but it's handy because, you know, I've got a spare battery box there I can use for something else, I'm sure. Anyway, put those to one side. Let's have a look at what this magazine says for today. So number 7, we are going to be finishing off our light that we started. It looks like we're going to be testing the Peanuts sign, which means for me I will have to attach the back plate because that I didn't attach, so I had access to put the parts on. So I will be attaching that today as well. Looks like we're going to be getting our little Snoopy figurine. Gosh, I can't talk today. Snoopy figurine that we are going to be adding to our baseball scene down here. So let's see, so that's just showing us what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be finishing the light, which will go onto the scene. I don't know if it's going to be attached to the scene yet, we will find out. And it looks like we are going to be attaching it, and then we are going to be testing the Peanut sign from what I can gather. So we're going to be doing a little bit of electrics, but they're pushed to fit, so nice and simple. So today's magazine is going to focus on Woodstock. I love Woodstock, and I love reading these magazines. I know I say it every time, but I do literally read all the cartoons and the information. I mean, Snoopy was, I looked at it back in the day and things like that from time to time, but it wasn't something I looked at all the time. So this would be quite cool. I must admit, I've had quite a chuckle out of reading the 6 issues I've so far received. So just spend a nice quiet hour or so going through all the cartoons and things that Snoopy hates. That'd be interesting. So we will see what he's like, because of course his best friend is Woodstock, so which is quite appropriate for also discovering him. And we are already in April 1951, so we are going to go through those cartoons, which will be pretty awesome, and go through this. So Charlie Brown is dressed for baseball again, but for a 3rd time we don't get to see a ball in play. So there you go. And last one. So let me get these pieces, just at least release the packaging a bit so it's not so noisy for you. Alright, so we have our battery box tester. Brilliant. So that's going to take you 4 AA batteries. We have to do with our table here, and also here, which is going to hold the battery that we received in last issue. This, I believe, will be the testing circuit board for the Snoopy part, the Peanut sign. Then we have our 4 legs. Going to leave those in here for now so I don't lose them, although I have spares. And then we have our dear old Snoopy with his baseball bat. How cool is that? It's a huge bat for the little fella to be playing around with, isn't it? Really cool. I really do love this little build, so I believe we are going to be using him today, and that will also be done at the same time as the Snoopy House. So the first thing we are going to be doing is this table. So let me bring in that scene. We are going to be needing both the scenes we've been working on, and I'm also going to need to get this battery, which is glaring away at you, out of the packaging. So we will be needing that for this house, for this table even. Alrighty, so let's get you going. So let's get the table parts. I don't think we need the whole scene right now, but I think we will be needing it. Okay, alright, I'm knocking everything over here, so let me just tidy up so I'm not doing that anymore. And at this point the sound went again on my computer, but I was showing that I pulled the other table, but that's not the one we're going to be using, so something else must be going with that one. So put that away safely, but we will be using the new table that was delivered with this pack, actually with pack 7. So put my magazine away so that it's not in view. And then there is a way that it needs to go in to secure it, and in fact it doesn't totally secure, so I do end up using glue on this. I actually don't know what's wrong with my computer that the sound keeps dropping, to be honest with you, but it does. What can I say? Something goes wrong. Just showing you about the tabs and the line up for the table. So that is in for the moment anyway, and then we are going to put the battery, and it's the negative side and the positive side, and it shows which way that is to go in. So it goes positive side up like so. That slips in. I have 2 of those batteries now, so that's very handy. Always come in helpful, those do. Use them for a lot of models, although I think I've got a stock now of most of my batteries actually. And going to then push this through, and I'm explaining about the tab so that you can see that there's a ridge, and that's normally the top of it, and also you can see the pins and which direction those are going to be in. That said, I think when we put it in here, there isn't particularly the same shape as what there is on some, so it's going to be via the pin direction as to it goes in as I throw it across the table. And so we are going to, so I'm just pushing the lamp back in again. I'm going to make sure that they are in the right direction. I'm double checking myself, push that all the way in to make sure it is there. Didn't realise it was going to go on, didn't realise there was a switch there, but there is, so I'm gonna know it works now, and it's off again, so we are going to fix that eventually. I'm just going to get that back in to the little, you can see the little indents there where it goes in. And then this has also 4 holes. It has an on-off switch like I just showed you, and turn it off so it doesn't glare. And then it also has 4 holes in the circuit board, but I think I'm just showing you the tabs on the base here have 4 holes in them too, which we are going to put that in, and that's when I realised that the circuit board itself does have the 4 holes in. So I'm going to make sure that those all line up, plus that the on-off switch lines up with the slot at the bottom. So there is a slot right at the bottom there that you can turn it on through that, so I'm just showing you that as well. And that goes in here. I'm just going to push that down eventually. Probably the lamp will fall off again because it always seemed to do that. Doesn't want to stay on that table very well. Tried very hard to get this in. Okay, in it goes. And then you just clip those 2 together, I say. And then I wonder a bit later why it's not clipping properly. So it's got a nice decorative front to it with a little pretend handle, and you clip that together. But mine doesn't clip, nor does my lamp stay on. So this is where I'm going to get a little bit of super glue, put a tiny bit on the side of it in order to keep that in place, like so, because you don't want to glue anything else, because you want to have access to it to change your battery. And generally this is actually a pretty good make. I mean, compared to the ones on the Disney Dollhouse where you have ones like this where you press things or whatever, this seems to work quite well. And then we can't glue the base down because we need to have access, so mine's not fitting right at all. And then at some point that's not gone in either, so rehold that on there and get that all the way down there like so. And then you can see that it's kind of not fitting well, it's not clipped together, and I'm concerned at this point because it's like, well, I can't glue this, so I don't really know what to do with it. And then I realised that actually I put it on wrong. So there is a way that it goes. You have to watch that edge, and it has to be all the way in the edge, then it clips in. So it was my error, and I didn't realise that there was, you know, it's not a pure square as such. There is a slight difference to it, and then it clips in just fine, no problem whatsoever. And the lamp is now glued in, so that works. And next will be the little table legs that we will do. So I'm just making sure that I get the right direction. Alright, so they slot into the slots here, and you put a little bit of glue in each one to hold them in, because they're not going to really hold in on their own. Again, be careful where you're putting the glue, because you don't want to hit that switch at all. And so you're going to get that in here like so. And the dogs are playing, just hold on one moment. I'm going to go and put the second one on. And the third one, so pretty much just doing a tiny bit of glue, although this glue comes out quite fast. It doesn't really have a, you know, like normal super glue, it has a very fine point, so you don't get too much of it. It doesn't have this tiny point that I was expecting. So get the fourth one in, and this will be done. And we will put it on the model. Because we want to be able to have access to the battery, we won't be fixing it on the model as in gluing it down. We will just be doing it like that. And now I'm showing you the little detail at the front, which is very cute. And so this one will be turned on from the bottom when we put it all together. And now I'm just checking if it's got to be glued in or not to the actual scene. And then I should bring the scene in, and of course I'm realising, well, actually I'm going to need access to the bottom, so it's no good gluing it anyway. And that's not so easy to do with it in place. I kind of have to lift it up. So this scene then is almost complete. The only thing we're going to have left is that one other table and whatever's going to go on top there, which I have no idea. And this goes in there, and I'm having trouble seeing where it is because it's not really facing myself. It's facing you guys. But we turn it a little and we're fine. Gonna get that in there. And there we have it. And then I'll show you it working again. And there we go. So you can see it's difficult to do with it in spots, so you'd have to lift it anyway for it to work. But I could see it becoming very loose over time and falling out of that placement. So something to bear in mind. And that's that. And then Snoopy falls over because of course he has the double-sided tape, which never works well for me. I mean, some people it seems to work really well for, but me not so much. So going to get Snoopy probably put right, turning the little table lamp off, and then we go and get the next one. And this one we are going to be putting Snoopy in, so I've got to make sure that he's facing the right way. He's only got one tab as I throw him across the table, of course. And then this one's almost complete as well. We only have Charlie Brown to do. And so I'm just explaining that while I'm doing this, I'm going to glue those other pieces on. I didn't put the backboard on until pretty much we're done to make sure I have access to everything. And I'm probably going to do that on all the scenes that we're doing for this, is put the backboard, if I can, last. Some of them I'm going to need to put on earlier, and like I'm showing you, these are really loose now. So I'm going to put some super glue in to keep them down, and then the glue drops all in the places I don't want it to, like in the middle of the house. And then put that one in, and I'm going to get that side panel because that one's always falling out on me as well, and just put a tiny bit of glue on the bottom there and across, and then struggle to put it back in again. It's not an easy one to put in because you want to make sure it's clear on the edge. And you don't want any overhang. And now I'm saying the super glue will dry by the time I get this back in. And me saying how easy it is to come out. It seems to be easy to come out, not so easy to put in. And it does click in place if you've got the right spot. Checking the edge, giving it a good push. And I think eventually I will decide to do that other house as well, because I thought it was in tighter, but it wasn't. So might as well glue that while we're at this and get that one in, because this will be the last chance, because that back's going to go on soon. I don't know if I'm going to do it today. in this issue, or whether I'm going to wait until Charlie Brown comes along. It looks like I'm going to wait. Alright, and then we will just showing you that's where Charlie Brown's going to sit. And now I'm getting the battery box ready in order to test the Snoopy, the peanut sign, which is on the on this build, isn't it? Yeah, it's on this build. So I'm just doing that to make sure that it works. And being I don't have the back, of course that's going to ping. I don't have the back on, then it makes it a lot easier that I'm not struggling to do it either, because I could just connect it. So that goes in like so. And I will also not tighten up the screws for it because I'm going to be taking the batteries out. And I made that mistake with the Disney Dolls house. I left the batteries in and they actually corroded inside the little battery box. So now I always make sure I take them out. I don't know why they corroded, because I always use new batteries, and I got tons of them because I bought them to light up all my decorations, all my models for Christmas. So I bought loads of batteries for it, so I knew that they were all new. But that's when I found out also the Disney Dolls house wasn't working because it had got eroded. I think that was when, it might have been when I did the video actually, and sorted that. And now we are going to test it against the peanut sign once I've got my hair back out that box. And we have a circuit board here with one which is going to go in there and a smaller one, and the bigger one's going to go in here. And again, you do have a lip on it with an on-off switch. I'm just showing you, and you have a lip on that which it shows you which direction it's going to go in. I'm trying to show you, but it's quite a distance where you can just about see it, and it goes in a specific way into here, and that one can be pushed all the way because I'm not going to be taking that out again unless something goes wrong, I guess. And then we'll put this one in, and again just checking where the holes are and if there's a line, and pushing that one in. But I'm not too worried about pushing that all the way because I will be unplugging that one. So then all it has to do is to test it, and nothing happens, nothing at all whatsoever, nothing. And then I'm checking that it's in right, and then realise that there is maybe I've got to push that in a little more, and then I realise that there's actually an on-off switch on the switch itself, and yep, that works. And even though it's really hard to see because it's quite bright in my house, I like bright, that you have both a on-off switch on the switch itself and also the battery box, so you've got two on-off switches there. And I'll turn it, there you go. Now you can see the difference between off and on is when it comes on like that. And then I'm going to pull that out, and all you do, and I'm trying to show you and get it as close as I can without pulling on any of the wires, to get that out is you just push either side of the wire itself. So you just pinch it together and then pull it out. Don't pull on the wires, otherwise it'll damage the wires. I'm just showing that's how it's done and out it comes, and it will be intact. And that's that. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to actually glue it in place at this point. I might do because there's nothing else left to do. I am. So I'm going to put the backing on now because this scene's almost complete. All we need in here is Charlie Brown, which doesn't really interfere with the back. When you put the backing on, if you do it this way, then you've got to make sure that that blue fence is behind the peanut sign. So I'm going to lift it up and just maneuver it like that so you can see. And I'm just explaining that you want to make sure the sign's in front of it, and then push it all the way in, which is actually quite difficult to do, but no more difficult than it would have been in the first place. I think if I remember rightly, this is the one that I'd put the backing in and took it off to do something, and so it may have had a little bit of residue glue on it. And then I'm testing it again now while it's in place and putting it all together, and then just going to be turning it on again and keep it explaining that I'll probably just keep the battery box there, or I know where it is. Being that I have a spare, I shouldn't really worry. Oh, and there it went on, but I hadn't pushed it in quite enough, so it didn't really stay in. There we go. And there we have it. And that's a Peanuts baseball scene done. Like I say, except for Charlie Brown, he's the only thing missing. So we've almost completed 2 scenes. We have a table to finish off on the lounging around one. I think it's got a different name to that, but that one. And we also have, I'm trying to turn it on without lifting it up, and I find it difficult to do that. So I am trying to turn it on now, and there we go. And so we're almost finished with these 2, except for, like I say, Charlie Brown on the Peanuts one, and the table on the far side near where Snoopy is, and I knocked over the light. Of course I did. And this, I think, will be a problem. It's going to be a bit annoying, but I'd rather it that way than not, because I can change batteries. And Snoopy is having a little dirt nap right now, and I don't know that I want to glue him on, to be honest with you, but I know that double-sided tape is not working for him anyway. The others seem to be okay. And I'm just explaining that I would take the batteries out and I would disconnect it all, so I don't have the rusty part going on. And this is what we have coming in number 8. So we are going to be working on another wall, which has a window. We get our Charlie Brown, so we will totally finish the baseball scene, so that's awesome. That one is totally done. And I'm just showing you that one, so he goes in there. And we're also going to make some cookies, and they're going to have cookies in bed. And I'm probably saying, what a weird idea, because you get all the crumbs in the bed. I mean, who wants crumbs in the bed? Nobody. But that's what we're going to be doing. And that one is called Eating Together. Eating together in bed. Goodness, what are they thinking? And that was issue 8, what we have to come. And this finishes up issue 7, what we've done. So we've done the peanut one, we've got the sign working, and we've also done the other one. So 2 very close to being completed scenes, which is fantastic. That's what we like. I do like the fact that we almost complete them too. So there we have it. And do take care of yourselves, and please like and subscribe. Any comments are more than welcome. I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.